What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, Season 5, Episode 6, Who's the Bossiest? So let's get started with TJ and Kimberly. So last week where we left off with them is Kimberly was arguing with her future brother-in-law, I think his name is Yash. So they were in a really heated argument about Kimberly, whether or not she's going to adapt to life in India or if she's going to hang on to her American individuality. So they were going back and forth with that. The episode actually ended last week with Yash saying that he called her stupid. And when she caught that and confronted him on that, like, did you just call me stupid? He tried to backpedal a little bit and say, no, I'm not calling you stupid. I think you have stupid ways, or whatever he said, however he was trying to clean it up. But he did call her stupid. So they're still arguing. And I don't know. I'm not even going to get into like verbatim what they were saying to each other, but some of the highlights of their argument was at some point Kimberly says to him, don't treat me like I'm dumb because I'm smart. And Yash says to her, okay, fine, you're the smartest person in the world, you're Einstein. And I thought that was funny. And then at some point I think he was like, he reached out to touch her or something, and she says, don't touch me. So these two people, they really do not like each other at all. They're both arguing that they have TJ's best interest at heart. The brother-in-law, Yash, he's trying to let her know that for you to have a good marriage with TJ, you're going to have to get along with this family and you're going to have to adapt to this culture because TJ is our family and this is his culture that he loves and that he treasures and respects. So you're going to have to feel the same way about it the way he does. And she's saying that she doesn't have to change who she is, that she can still keep her individuality because in her culture, because she wants her culture to also be acknowledged and respected. And she says in her culture, it's all about being an individual, staying true to yourself and not conforming to anybody or to anything else. So this is where they have butted heads. So later on, Kimberly ends up texting TJ and letting TJ know that she got into this argument with his brother. So TJ wants to have a meeting with both of them to try to resolve the issue. Now, throughout this whole meeting that they were having, Yash kept me giggling the whole entire time. Yash is so funny to me. He is so funny. So Yash I felt like personally that he was making some really good points. I mean, he said it like exactly the way it was, that he thinks that she should conform to Indian culture and understand that she's going to be part of an entire family unit. It's not going to be just her and TJ and that's it. And she needs to appease the family and she needs to accept the culture. And so then Kimberly gives her side of the story to TJ and says that, she sacrificed so much to be here in India with him and that she just wants to keep a little bit of her individuality. So throughout this meeting, of course, Kimberly is going to play Miss Innocent and, she wasn't the person before who was arguing toe to toe with Yash, peppering her language with some cuss words here and there. She's not going to act like that at all. She's going to be Miss Prim and Proper. I don't use foul language. I'm just going to sit here and listen and fold my hands in my lap like a really good little girl. And I'm not trying to rock the boat. I just want everyone to be happy. And Yash saw right through that. But TJ did stand up for his woman. And he did tell his brother that he needs to respect Kimberly. And he did tell his brother to pipe it down, to calm down, because I don't think Yash was getting out of control. I think that he was just a little bit more animated than Kimberly. But because of that, he came off as the hothead. But I saw through Kimberly's act. It was just an act as far as I'm concerned. The way that she was sitting there so innocent and allowing Yash to speak, allowing Yash just to go on and on and on. She didn't interject. She didn't interrupt. And basically she was just trying to play Miss Innocent. And Yash, he was a little bit more passionate. He definitely was, but I kind of agreed with him. My whole mindset when it comes to these international relationships is that if you're going to go live in another country, I think you should adapt to the ways of that country. Because why else would you want to date internationally? There must be something about your partner's culture that you like, that you are impressed by, because otherwise you would have just dated someone who was within the same culture as you and within the same country as you. But if you're going to not only date internationally, but then move to another country, to me, it just makes sense that you're going to adopt to their ways. I don't understand why you go to another country and then you're fighting every single thing about that country and you refuse to adapt, you refuse to conform. You're not going to follow the way that I just don't understand. So why are you living there? If you want to stay living an American life and you want to keep your individuality and you want to keep your freedoms, then why don't you just stay in America? Why do you go to another country? And it's not to say that in India they're not free and there isn't any individuality. Obviously there is, but there is a custom to follow. It's not even a custom to follow. This is just how they live over there. Why wouldn't you want to adapt to their way of culture? I mean, it's almost as if you're saying that either you're better than them or that there's something about this that you just don't like. It doesn't appeal to you. And I think either way, it's disrespectful. So, but TJ stood up for his woman because he knows which side his bread is buttered on, and he's not going. He's already been through 2 or 3 days of her being mad at him, of her yelling at him, of her cussing him out, and he's done with it. So of course he's going to want to appease Kimberly. Number one, they're getting married in a few days. Number two, he's already seen and experienced the wrath of Kimberly, so he doesn't want to rock the boat anymore with her. So of course he's going to try to let his brother know, you need to pipe it down. But I don't know, because I feel like TJ, he can only put up with her American individualism for so long until he finally is going to be, telling her what's what. Either she's going to have to conform, or they're going to have to think about moving to America if they want to stay together. But I really do believe that at some point TJ is going to reach his limit with her. Moving on from them, we're going to talk about Armando and Kenny. So Armando and Kenny, their biggest issue is whether or not to go through with having a child together. So they go see a surrogate agency. And in Kenny's confessional, he talks about how different things were when he had his children than the way they are now. Because back then, you couldn't even do the IVF process if you were single or if you were gay. You couldn't even do the IVF process. Now anybody can go through IVF. And so the whole idea of having an agency that specializes in surrogacy, and they don't even question if you are a same-sex couple, if you're single, it's just whatever. So he talks about how far things have come from 30 years ago. And so they're having a consultation with the agency. The agency says that they can, if everything goes as planned, they can have their baby like in a year or year and a half time. So that's really, really fast. So Kenny's really worried about his age. He talks about how he's kind of worried about, if he's going to, how long does he have to live? Because it wouldn't be fair for the child if at some point in their life, when they're still developing or in their young adulthood, they have to lose a parent, because he is 60 years old. When the child is 20, he's going to be in his 80s. So Kenny is thinking about that. He's thinking about the point where he is in his own life, as far as, does he really want to have a newborn and go through the whole process of rearing a baby, and also not just that, but also thinking about his longevity and how that's going to affect the family dynamic. So these are some serious, very valid concerns that he has. And so him and Armando, they sit down and they talk about it. Armando was basically demanding Kenny to let him know, here and now, tell me exactly what you want to do. And Kenny says, I just need you to respect the fact that I cannot give you an answer right now. So when he said, I need you to respect the fact that I can't give you an answer, Armando kind of flew off the handle, and he was like, are you telling me that, up until now I haven't been respecting you? So Armando gets upset. He walks out. He leaves the cafe. Kenny does follow him, and Kenny tells him, I don't want to argue with you about this. And so they talk about it, and Kenny does express his concern. And Armando tells Kenny, I just don't want you to string me along. That's why I really need an answer. And I have a feeling that Armando is using this whole baby thing as leverage to moving to Mexico City. I'm wondering if he's kind of like, if you agree to have a baby with me, then I'll stay in Mexico City because, this is the best place for us to get a surrogate. I'm wondering if he's using that or is going to use that as leverage. Otherwise, he's going to want to go back to the town that they came from. I really don't know. But I need Armando to really understand and to really hear where Kenny is coming from, because I don't think that Kenny is wrong in the fact that he is concerned about whether or not at the age of 60 he wants to have a brand new baby, and also how long is he going to be around for this new child. It won't be fair for the child to lose a parent when they're still young. So I really need Armando to consider that. I don't know what the solution is. I kind of wish, and then Kenny made a good point when he said that Armando is at that age where you're having babies. He's at that baby making age. He's at that age where people normally are expanding their families, but he's not. Kenny isn't. And I think that Armando should have taken that into consideration when he wanted to date someone who was significantly older and who was done raising his own children. I feel like maybe Armando's probably going to have to give up this idea of having a baby. Kenny might give in and go through with the surrogacy, but also if he doesn't give in, if he decides to not go through with it, Armando needs to understand that, it was for very good, valid reason. Kenny is not being selfish. He's being anything but selfish. And if having a baby is that important to Kenny, if it's that important to Armando, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, he has a child. It's not like he doesn't have any children. He has a child that he's raising, that he's still raising. So I'm not quite understanding why Armando is so, and I know he wants to have a baby with Kenny, like this is their child together and not a child that they brought into the relationship. He wants, to start brand new with a brand new baby with his husband. And I get that. But honey, your husband's 60 years old. But at the same time, I don't know if this is just drawn up drama for the show, because we know that Kenny and Armando are not breaking up over this whole baby situation. We know they're going to stay together, and I kind of think that they didn't go through with having the baby, but I don't know. Moving on to Wayne and Holly. So with Wayne and Holly, when we see them, it's where we left off last week, because last week they went to the store because Wayne told Holly, you're going to have to get some more decent or modest looking clothes because things are different in South Africa. The clothes that you brought with you, if you wear these out in public, people are going to think that you are a prostitute. So Holly completely broke down when he said the word prostitute. She runs into the fitting room and she's bawling her eyes out, saying that, he thinks I'm a prostitute. He thinks I'm a prostitute. Her mom is in there with her. Her mom is like, no, that's not what he's trying to tell you. He doesn't think that you're a prostitute. He's just looking out for you. So Holly, to me, is super fragile and super sensitive when it comes to this. So maybe Wayne might be, because we do see that Wayne does have like some controlling ways about him. So I don't know exactly if Wayne is controlling or if he is really looking out for her best interest when it comes to her attire. Maybe he should just let her find out for her damn self. If she wants to wear her skimpy dresses and when she goes out in public and if she gets a lot of looks, maybe then she can make up her own mind if she wants to continue dressing like that. So maybe Wayne should just kind of step back and let her do her own thing and let her find out for herself. Otherwise, it might come off as him trying to control her. So she takes a self-defense class, and he wants her to take a self-defense class because I don't know what neighborhood these people are living in. For him to have his house broken into 3 times, for him to be so worried about her getting snatched off the streets because of how she dresses, for him to want her to take self-defense classes. I'm like, are you living in the hood? Like, where are you? Wayne, like, where are you living for you to have all of these concerns? So she's taking a self-defense class. That's good for her. And then Holly asks him, so how long is it going to be until you allow me to go out by myself? Because she wants to go jogging by herself, etc. And Wayne tells her, maybe 6 months to a year. I'll let you go out by yourself. Once you kind of understand the layout of the land and you're familiar with the neighborhood and the town, and you can be a little bit more aware of what's going on around you, yeah, then you can start going out by yourself. Wayne, where are you living? So the next morning, Holly tells him that she has booked some appointments for them to go look at houses because she really, really wants to move into a gated community. The problem is Wayne cannot afford to move out. He's had some issues with his work. His money isn't flowing the way it used to flow. So he really can't afford to move. And it's not that he doesn't want to. He just ain't got the money. But Holly's insisting on moving to a safer neighborhood. She says she has to be in a safer neighborhood for her to finally feel like South Africa is home to her. So he's going to go ahead and appease her, and he's going to go ahead and agree on looking at these homes. But honey, if he ain't got the money, he ain't got the money. Unless, Holly, you're willing to foot the bill for y'all to move and to buy a new house, you're going to have to stay where you've been staying. Moving on from there, we have Kirsten and Julio. Not much happened to them. He's driving her to the airport, and there's still a lot of tension between them because, Julio's been kind of flip-flopping on whether or not he wants to move to the Netherlands with her. And he's kind of like changing the whole entire dynamic of their future, because the original plan was that he was going to move to the Netherlands and they were going to start their life together. They were going to get their own home or their own apartment together and move on from there. Well, because he's been so pressured by his family and his family has been in his ear, he's been having second thoughts. So he's suggested that she possibly move to the US. She said no to that. He suggested that they live in different homes in the Netherlands. She said no to that. So now there's this tension between them because he's showing some doubts of wanting to move forward with their relationship in the way that they had originally planned. So in the car, they get into this argument about what about apartment viewings. It was a stupid argument. She says something about, yes, I will do the apartment viewings. And then he said to her, well, of course you'll do it because I can't be there with you. So he says to her, but I've been sending you pictures. I've been sending you potential apartments for us. So I'm still involved in the process, but I can't physically be there with you. And so she says, well, you can view the apartments with me by FaceTime. And for whatever reason, he didn't like that idea. And then he goes, but I've done the FaceTime with you before. She says, no, you haven't. Don't lie. So I don't know what's going on with these people. They were bickering about apartment viewings only because they have these underlying issues about their relationship that neither one of them is really ready to address. Maybe she is, but he isn't, because he's not being honest about exactly what he wants out of her and out of this relationship. So they say their goodbyes to the airport. She says, I'll see you in 3 months. He tells her, I promise you I'll be there in 3 months. Yeah, you might be there in 3 months, but you're going to be there living with her. Like, I don't understand what's going on. Look, Julio to me is another flip-flopper. He doesn't know what the hell he wants. He's I guess he feels guilty for having this relationship behind his family's back. And so to kind of make atonement with them for being so deceptive and hiding an entire girlfriend and hiding this whole relationship from his family, he's allowing his family to start influencing him on what to do with Kirsten. I think that's what it is. I think he probably carries a lot of guilt that he wasn't telling anybody anything. They made him feel bad about it. And now he's like trying to take what they're saying into consideration, only basically to get back on their good side and their good graces. But Julio, you promised this girl that you were going to move to the Netherlands with her. And either you're going to break up with her or you're going to follow through. But this whole thing about moving to the Netherlands, living in your own apartment, I don't think that's going to work out. You might as well just break up with her. Stop. Be a man. You gave her your word. You told her what the plan was going to be. This is what she's been relying on this whole entire time. You were the one that messed up by not telling your family what the hell was going on with your life, and she should not have to suffer for that. Unless you really just don't want to be with her. If you care about her and you love her and you want to be with her, follow through with your plans. But this whole thing about, well, why don't you do this and why don't we do that? Now, it's not going to work. So yeah, figure that out, Julio. Please figure that out, because right now you're looking kind of like a jerk. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Now let's talk about 90 Day Fiance Last Resort. So I was having a conversation with somebody in my comments about whether or not I'm going to review 90 Day Fiance Last Resort. I don't know. I'm definitely going to watch it. I'm going to see what kind of vibes it's getting. Okay, I'm going to see the kind of vibes it's giving me. If it's giving me a lot of forced drama, a lot of scripted drama, a lot of fakeness, I'm gonna have to let that show go. I don't have the time to waste on these people. What really bothers me about this group of people that's on 90 Day Fiance Last Resort is that we have two couples that are not even in an international relationship. That is Big Ed and his fiance, whatever her name is, and Molly and her fiance, whatever his name is. They're not even in international relationships. So why are they on a show called 90 Day Fiance? Another issue that I have with the show is Yara and Jovi. I fell for the okie doke. I thought that the last time that they were featured on 90 Day Fiance, that they were going through issues, with Yara wanting to move to Europe without Jovi and getting her own apartment behind his back. And I thought they were really going through it. It wasn't so. It wasn't so at all. It was just fake drama. So here we are again with Yara is not moving to Europe. She's going to stay right here in America. She ain't going nowhere. I just can't deal with the fakeness. Now, I know a lot of these reality TV shows are, somewhat contrived, and I get it, but there are some genuineness in some of them. This right here, it just seems 100% fake. So I'm a little bit interested in Asuelo and Kalani. I'm kind of interested in them. Big Ed, not interested. And then we have Angela and Michael, where Michael is going to be on a damn portable screen the whole entire time. What the hell is going on? If he's not here to participate, we don't need to see Angela. I understand that TLC thinks that, Angela is her cash cow, but if she can't do what everybody else is doing because her dude is still stuck in Nigeria, it's going to be okay. We're going to survive. We'll be fine without watching a season. If you just give us a tiny break from Angela, we'll survive. We'll be okay. TLC seems to be really worried about us, thinking that we need Angela in our lives, and we don't. So the fact that Michael is going to be participating on that, whatever that is, that tablet, this whole entire time, I can't do it. I can't do it. That is so stupid. There was a scene that they showed in the previews where Big Ed and some of the other guys were on a boat. And because I think it was like a guy's event or a guy's activity, Michael was there on the damn tablet. I cannot deal with talking head Michael on a tablet. I just can't. I'm going to look at it tomorrow. It's recording right now as I'm recording this. It's recording right now on my DVR. I'm going to look at, y'all, I'm not even going to do a full in-depth review on this show. If I do decide to review it, it's just going to be my final thoughts on the stupidity of it all. I'm just going to touch on a couple of things and keep it pushing. There's no way I can devote, because I don't want to complain, but you can't really enjoy a show when you're always making notes and you're trying to keep up with everything because you're going to be reviewing it later on a video. And you have to be very dedicated to the show because it kind of takes away from the enjoyment of it when you're watching it and you're taking notes and then you got to talk about it. So I'm not going to give Last Resort that kind of energy. I'm gonna watch it. If there's anything worth talking about, I'm gonna hop on here, I'm gonna talk about it with y'all. If not, I'm not. But I'm not gonna dedicate 2 hours of note taking and following each storyline closely. I'm not gonna do it for these people. I won't do it. But we'll see where it goes. Who knows? Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.